Hey, what's up guys? Hope you guys staying safe out in the quarantine. Right now we're just gonna talk about some sidechaining. So what is sidechaining? Sidechaining is lowering the volume of your sound when the kick hits. We do this to make it cut more through the mix. This is one of the first techniques every producer should learn. So there's two ways of sidechaining. One's using a compressor, which we have right here. I like using the compressor when I make tracks more like future bass, where you don't have a 4 on the 4 kick. But if I'm using a 4 on the 4 kick like progressive house, I would like using the other technique, which is ducking. That's reducing the volume of the sound. For this example, I did a chord progression and a simple future bass kick. Goes like this. As you can notice, it's kind of like fighting with the kick right now, and the chords don't have much of a groove I'd like it to have. So for this, I like to add sidechaining. And in Ableton, it's pretty simple. You just add a compressor, and then you click on the arrow, you click on sidechaining, and then you select your audio input, which in this example is the kick. And then you just lower the threshold until your liking. And with this technique, you can overdo it pretty easy, so don't lower the threshold a lot, because it'll sound like this. I think there it sounds pretty good. So yeah, that's the compression technique. It's pretty simple and gets the job done pretty easy. For the ducking technique, I grabbed a project I'm currently working with. It sounds like this. For the sidechaining, I used a free plugin called Tau Filter. You just put the BPM factor to ×16 and you put the modulation type to volume, and then you kind of shape the curve right here. For my leads, I like doing a slight curve like this one, and I like also reducing the volume right here, so at the start of the sound I don't get any clicks. And with the sidechaining off, the leads sound like this. And that's good, but with the kick it's gonna conflict if I don't put some sidechaining there. So with the sidechaining on, it sounds like this. It also makes them groovier, it makes them dance around. For the chords, I like using a more aggressive curve and same drop off at the end of the curve also, just so I don't hear any clickings at the start of the sound. And without the sidechaining, it sounds like this. And these chords have lower frequencies, so they're definitely gonna conflict with the kick. So when I put the sidechaining on, it sounds like this. That'll sound way much better with the kick playing. So for the top bass, I like using a more aggressive curve than the chords. It just makes the bass groovier for me, and I just like the way it sounds like this. And without the sidechain, it sounds like this. With the kick, it also sounds like this. There's just way too much going on. So when I put the sidechain on it, the kick cuts more through the mix. And the bass is much groovier, as you can hear. With the sub bass, I like using a heavier curb, because the sub bass is the main sound that conflicts with the kick, because they're in the same frequency range. Without the sidechain, it sounds like this. As you can hear, it doesn't sound that pleasing to the ear, but with the sidechaining on, it sounds more controlled. Then I also like using this plugin called SM Exoscope, just to level the sub right. The peak is the kick, and then this waveform is the sub. I like keeping the sub a little lower than the kick usually, and I monitor the levels with this plugin. I like putting a little bit of sidechain on the percussion just so the kick cuts a little more through the mix. As you can tell, without the sidechaining, it'll sound like this. It sounds good, but I like getting more of a groove together, and with the sidechaining it sounds like this. Drums sound a little more glued together, and I put the depth like at 50% because I don't like a heavy sidechaining, because it'll sound like this. This is the track without the sidechaining on. As you can tell, it doesn't sound really good. And this is how it sounds with sidechaining on. It just sounds groovier, and makes the track more glued together. So yeah guys, that's all my tricks on sidechaining. I hope these tips help you out with your production, and see you guys next time.